lay down your arms. Like your arms. No, I think they're talking about your weapons. So that is Robert Plant's The Principle of the Moment. It's actually damn, I can't remember if I got this vinyl from Southtown or from Hogwild here in SA, but I think it was Hogwild. I got this other album that I can't wait to share from Southtown. I got it for like $3. And I saw the documentary. And of the group of Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young. But then they talked specifically about when they were making this album. And like, I just feel like the amount of times that they talked about Neil Young just like being like very into their practices and like at the recording sessions, and then all of a sudden the next day he would just like disappear. It was just incredible to hear how he would just disappear all the time if he didn't feel like it was right. I guess it was his principles. It was his principles of the moment. But yeah, so this album, Deja Vu, I got from Southtown for like literally a steal, like $3. And it does have I think like one kind of, maybe one scratch on it. I don't remember. Anyways, it's still a great album, and I've been listening to it. But it was so sad that they were talking about how the heartbreak that they were experiencing, was it Crosby or Stills? I think it was Crosby. His girlfriend died in his like partner died in a car crash right before they made this album. Like, I mean, like they were about to go into the studio, and then you could tell that his heartbreak is in this album. Like, I listened to it, and I hadn't seen the documentary, and this isn't about this. This isn't a live about this. I just, like, was thinking about it because it's right next to me, and I was debating between the two albums to put on. And you can, I mean, like, I don't know if it was just me, but, like, when I was listening to it, I just felt heartbroken. Maybe I am heartbroken, but I later watched the documentary and I found out it's because his girlfriend died. I mean, he had all these emotions and that he had to express. Anyways, it's such a great album, and you can feel the pain and you can feel the joys and the emotion, and it's pretty incredible, to be honest. So today I'm gonna read that your soul is your highest self. And you know what Led Zeppelin says about the soul of the woman, you know what I'm saying? It's created below. No. So I'm just drinking some yogi tea. Yogi, if you want to sponsor me, you're more than welcome. And I'm also drinking a Bigelow green tea as well. So Bigelow, Gigolo. I'm a gigolo for Bigelow. You know what I'm saying? I'll stop. I swear it's only tea in here. It's not a hot toddy. I'm just like this all the time. So, I wanted to read this today because I went to a protest this weekend, and I just thought that Jonstewart has been so vocal, trying to defend our country in the United States, and global concerns as well, that it just made me think, you know, I have this book here, and I want to branch out a little bit, so that way it'll give you time to digest the other books that I've recommended to you. I don't want to read an entire book to you because that's no fun. You have to delve into it yourself. So this one is an older one. It's The Daily Show with Jon Stewart presents America, the book, not the country, and A Citizen's Guide to Democracy, inaction. Like inaction. Not in action, like actioning itself, but the result of sans action. With a foreword by Thomas Jefferson. So this book was actually made quite a while ago, and I got it quite a while ago. It's written and edited by Jonstewart, Ben Carlin, David Javerbaum. Writers are Rich Blomquist, Steve Bowden, Tim Carville, Eric Drysdale, J.R. Hovland, Scott Jacobson, Tom Johnson, Rob Kuttner, Chris Regan, Jason Reich, and Jason Ross. All the Jasons, really. Just like a few adjacent to adjacents, you know. Additional material: Samantha B., Stephen Colbert, Rob Corddry, Brendan Hay, Ed Helms. Designed by Pentagram. Special thanks: Dave Blogg, Adam Chodikoff, Jen Flauntz, Christopher Martin, Matt Moses, Nan North, Karen Perrine, and Robin Sanders. Thank you, Robin. This is published by Warner Books, who are in New York and Boston. Copyright is 2004. It's been 10 years since you looked at me. So, Busboy Productions, Inc., all rights reserved. And it's the Time Warner Group, so... So, to the maddled hasses, I keep yearning. That's not what it says. It says, to the huddled masses, keep yearning. So, table of contents. It looks like there's 9 chapters. Democracy Before America is Chapter 1. The Founding of America, Chapter 2. The President, King of Democracy, Chapter 3. Congress, Quagmire of Freedom, Chapter 4. The Judicial Branch, Its Rules, Chapter 5. Campaigns and Elections, America Changes the Sheets, Chapter 6. The Media, Democracy's Valiant Vulgarians, Chapter 7. The Future of Democracy, 77 years from now. Did I sound like Abraham Lincoln? Because I was trying to. That's Chapter 8. The Rest of the World, International House of Horrors, Chapter 9. Then there's an afterword, acknowledgements, credits, all that stuff. You can go into that at your leisure. So it's actually pretty cool. It kind of breaks down the chapter, and so for instance, Chapter 1, I'm not going to go into all of it, but it'll go into it with a little picture and like bullet points. So, Chapter 1. This should be given to every immigrant that comes in for citizenship upon their entry. We should just like have a stockpile of them, like boxes and boxes, and then as they come in, we just hand it to them. Here you go. Here you go. Here you go. And then they just take it, and then they can go read it. Then they kind of just get the gist of it. And then it should be translated to Spanish or Guatemalan or whatever, so that way they know as they enter the country. Or Chinese or Canadian. Just kidding. So in Chapter 1, Democracy Before America, in this chapter you will witness thousands of years of history casually dismissed in a few pages. Learn the difference between a totalitarian regime and a post-communist kleptocracy. Klepto, does that mean stealing? Read a cuneiform public opinion poll. I can only imagine. Cuneiforms like hieroglyphics. Sorry. Realize that no matter how horrible your life is, it's not as bad as a feudal serfs. Oh God. Oh God. I was worried. I was just thinking about the medieval times today, thinking, I wonder if my life is worse than the medieval times. Make your own flag, spangles not included, and then have a hard time keeping the book open on a table while you read it. Okay, good. Like that. Like that. Oh, that's not that hard. But we're barely at page 1. So, and then the founding of America. So chapter 2 is the founding of America. In this chapter, you will see graphic, full-color photos of America's birth. Oh, God, I bet it's bloody. Spoiler alert. Learn about the founding mothers and find out which ones were MILFs. Founding MILFs. Not fire until you see the whites of their eyes. Okay. Become increasingly skeptical of the author's scholarship. Get sick of always hearing about how great Ben Franklin was. and circle every 5th letter until you find a clue that leads you to the treasure. So get your pencils ready, kids. No, so Ben Franklin does have this, and he probably stole it. He probably stole it now that I think about it. But he has this quote, and it says, and it's one of my favorite quotes since I was like a kid. It's if you would not be forgotten before you were dead and rotten, either write something worth the reading or read something worth the writing. And hopefully we're doing the latter today. I don't honestly think I'll be able to get that far, because I was listening to like attention span, like stats. You know me, I love Papacito, Mr. Trevornoah, and he has this, I mean, like literally incredible, depressing, podcast, because you just hear about all the truths and realities of this world, and he had some guy, this really important figure. I'm so sorry I don't remember his name. He works in, I think, San Francisco in California, and he's in the social dilemma, and so he helped with the progression of social media and AI. His business partner created infinite scrolling, and so they go into this podcast, and then they were talking about where AI is headed and where social media is headed and how it's affecting our youth and our culture. How there is such thing as fact checking, but what there isn't a lot of times is context checking. So you know how like preachers will get like little chapters out of the Bible and then like make a sermon, but they don't look at the whole context of it. And I'm sure we're all guilty of that in every facet of our lives, right? But that's just like an example, right? And so they were just like, sure, with social media, we're all in vacuums. And even if you go and you try and fact check, did this happen? Did this person say that? Sure. But what was the larger thing that they were trying to say? What was the entire passage? What was the entire speech, right? And so I thought that was really interesting, and how they were also talking about how children's attention span has increasingly dwindled because of social media. And then the ways that AI is developing. Like it or not, we cannot, as they said, put the genie back in the bottle. And so I know my videos are longer. I don't make TikToks. I don't even have a TikTok. I don't even like Tic Tacs, you know? Tic Tac. In fact, I try not to have any clocks around me whatsoever, because time is relative and it's subjective, and it's just really illusionary, to be honest. So, I guess what I wanted to say is that I know my videos are rather long, so the ones of you that watch them all, or maybe you can watch it in 2 parts when you're not busy. But thanks so much for sticking with me and for watching it, and thanks for the likes, and I always have a Cash App that y'all can you can donate to if you so choose. And so I will start now. Do you want me to read the foreword? It is by Thomas Jefferson. When America, the book, first approached me about penning a foreword to their tome, I was surprised. Firstly, the foreword is not my bailiwick, but rather the declaration. And forgive my conceit, but if one is looking to introduce a grand composition with a pithy and clear pronouncement, my declaratives are second to none. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Google it if ye doubt my claim. Also, of some concern, I have been dead for, oh Lord, has it really been 178 years? I guess now it's 188 years, right? Since it's, this was published in 2004. Anyways, my goodness, time certainly flies when you're no longer consigned to your earthly vessel. Notwithstanding, Irv over at Warner Brothers sent me some galleys, and I have to say, funny. Not John Winthrop's A Comparative Treatise on the Most Unusual of Distinctions twixt the fairer of species and her masculine counterpart funny, but funny. Of course, Sally was less enthused. You are the author of the Declaration of Independence, a scholar, a statesman. This is beneath you. It's not even network. But truth be told, I was itching to get back to the quill and paper. The Declaration work is not as steady as it used to be. Sally may not like it, but as we used to say in the back parlors of the 18th century Paris, tough titties. I was also looking forward I was also looking forward to this opportunity to dispel some of the mythology surrounding myself and my fellow founders, particularly the myth of our infallibility. You moderns have a tendency to worship at the altar of the fathers. The First Amendment is sacrosanct. We will die to protect the Second Amendment. So dramatic. Lay down your arms. I threw that last one in myself. So, do you know why we call them amendments? Because they amend. They fix mistakes or correct omissions, and they themselves can be changed. Oh, my eyes looked kind of crazy when I said that. Can be changed! No, but they can. They can be changed. They're amendments. It's to amend, you know? I get you, Thomas. I get you, Mr. Jefferson. President Jefferson? Oh my god, I'm sorry. Anyways, they fix mistakes or correct omissions, and they themselves can be changed. If we had meant for the Constitution to be written in stone, we would have written it in stone. You guessed it. So, most things were written in stone back then, you know. I'm not trying to be difficult, but it's bothersome when you blame your own inflexibility and extremism on us. Now that we weren't, not that we weren't awesome, we wrote the Constitution in the time it takes you Nimrods to figure out which is the I button and which is the nay. But we weren't gods. We were men. We had flaws. Adams was an unbearable prick and squealed girlishly whenever he saw a bug. And Ben Franklin, if crack existed in our day, that boozed up snuff machine would weigh 80 pounds and live outside the Port Authority. And I had slaves. Damn, I can't believe I had slaves. Yes, we were very accomplished. We discovered electricity, invented stoves, bifocals, the Lazy Susan, efficient printing presses, and the swivel chair. But in the 18th century, it was nearly impossible not to invent something. What if we put this refuse in a receptacle? Oh my God, you just invented a sanitation system. We lived in primitive times. Hell, I shit in a bucket and I was president. But I digress. My point is, composing the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution, it was hard work. God didn't dictate it for us to transcribe from some sort of dictation transcribing machine. Hey, did I just invent something? Do you have anything like that? You do, oh. Well, our purpose was to create a living document based on principles that transcended the times that we lived in. And I think we did that. We created a blueprint for a system that would endure, which means your lazy asses shouldn't be coasting off our accomplishments. We were imperfect. It was imperfect. And we expect our descendants to work as hard as we did on keeping what we think is a profoundly excellent form of government supple, evolving, and relevant. After reading this book, you should be better prepared to do just that. As always, TJ. P.S. Oh, is it true Halle pinche jodida way? Sorry, I didn't read that right. P.S. Oh, and is it true Halle Berry is once again single? I'd be forever in your debt if you would put in a good word for TJ. Oh, how I love the fuck me in the tits, dude. A mochaccino. Stupid assholes. I don't know who wrote that, but great job. Just great job. So, congratulations. If you're still here, you made it to chapter 1. We have a few quotes here. This is called Democracy Before America is the chapter. And I shall show you the book. I feel like a kindergarten teacher where I'm like, look at the pictures. Is it true that we are called a democracy? For the administration is in the hands of the many and not the few. That's Pericles. Yes, Pericles, but have you gotten a load of the many? Socrates. Yeah. Okay. Thucydides' History of the Peloponnesian War. Reasons for decline in participation in democracy. Monetary rewards unsatisfactory. 52%. 23%. Too tired. 17%. The game was on. Duh. The Spurs. 8%. Had a thing. They had a thing going on. Basically, it's just, people don't participate. And we need to get people to vote more, especially in this next election. There's so much at stake, and I don't even... We're like in Fahrenheit 451, where they're only giving us candidates that they want to give us, and they're all shitty. Wish Bernie Sanders was president. At least this country would have morals. But, okay. So it's often said that America invented democracy. This view is, of course, an understatement. America invented not only democracy, but freedom, justice, liberty, and time sharing. But representative democracy is unquestionably our proudest achievement, the creation most uniquely our own, even if the rest of the Western world would have come up with the idea themselves by the 1820s. So why, then, has participation in the most wondrous system withered? See figure 1.1, which I just read to you. As heirs to a legacy more than 2 centuries old, it is understandable why present-day Americans would take their own democracy for granted. A president freely chosen from a wide-open field of 2 men every 4 years, a Congress with a 99% incumbency rate, which just means they get reelected over and over and over again. A Supreme Court comprised of 9 politically appointed judges whose only oversight is the icy scythe of death. The icy scythe of death. Why? So basically, they're on there for a lifetime until they die. That's what he's saying. All these reveal a system fully capable of maintaining itself, obviously. But our perfect democracy, which neither needs or particularly wants voters, is a rarity. It is important to remember there still exist many other forms of government in the world today. See chart on pages 8 and 9. Don't worry, we'll get there, probably. And that dozens of foreign countries still long for a democracy such as ours to be imposed on them. To regain our sense of to regain our sense of perspective and wonder, we must take a broader historical view, looking beyond America's relatively recent success story, to examine our predecessors and their adorable failures. In this chapter, we will briefly explore the evolution of an idea following the HMS Democracy on her dangerous voyage through the mists of time. Past the straits of monarchy, surviving Hurricane Theocracy, then navigating around the Cape of Good feudal system to arrive battered but safe at her destined port of call, America Town. Early man. More animal than political. I guess things haven't changed much. So, the human race is unnatural, brutal, amoral, unreasonable, self-centered, but for the first few 100,000 years of our existence as a species, we were way too obvious about it. Primitive culture centered on survival of the individual, and occasionally survival of someone the individual might want to reproduce with. Yeah, fair enough. See 1981's harrowing documentary, Caveman. Caveman positioned a prehistoric quasi-autocratic polity headed by Tonda, John Matsukak. The feeble and the weak realized that without a good plan, they weren't going to make it out of the Stone Age to see the wonder that was clay. So, civic institutions were non-existent, as was debate, which would appear later after the invention of the frontal lobe. For prehistoric man, the rule of law, such as it was, could be best summed up by the seminal case Marbury's Head versus Madison's Rock. You know what I'm saying? Early man lived this tenuous Darwinian nightmare for an age or two until a peculiar thing happened. The unfittest decided they wouldn't mind surviving either. I guess that's all truism for you. So the unfittest decided they wouldn't mind surviving either, okay? The feeble and weak realized that without a good plan, they weren't going to make it out of the Stone Age to see the wonder that was clay. Alone, they were, who's clay? And why does he get to be seen so much? Alone, they were mammoth meat. Together, they would become a force with a chance to see the day when their children's children would be only 75% covered in hair. From these noble impulses, the groundwork for the first civilizations was laid. I guess clay got laid. Neanderthals had to get their political news from the only 3 networks: ABC, CBS, NBC. Stupid assholes. Were you aware? The fact that the Magna Carta was written in 1215 is, by law, the only thing you are required to know about it. Athens, our big, fat Greek forerunners. Ancient Greece is widely credited with creating the world's first democracy. Oh, God bless America. My tongue is tied today. Also, it was split in 2 words, and I got tongue-tied. Okay, ancient Greece is widely credited with creating the world's first democracy. It would be a worthy endeavor to travel back in time to the feta-strewn shores of 5th century. I'm not going to be able to get through this without laughing. I'm so sorry. I apologize. Okay. It would be a worthy endeavor to travel back in time to the feta-strewn shores of 5th century BC Athens and ask Plato to define democracy, and not only to make money gambling on Olympics results that we, being from the future, would already know. Plato would tell us, in that affectionate but non-sexual way of his, that democracy is a Greek word combining the roots for people, demos, and rule, kratia. In Greek, democracy, political power was concentrated not in the hands of one person or even a small group of people, but rather evenly and fairly distributed among all the people, meaning every John Q. Publikopoulos could play a role in Athenian government. The main legislative body, the assembly, was comprised of no less than the first 6,000 citizens to arrive at its meetings. And bear in mind, no saving seats. Jury duty was considered to be an honor to be vied for. Membership in most other civic institutions, including the Supreme Court, was chosen by a lot. Oh, hey, hi, how are you? I'm reading America, the book, not the country. A Citizen's Guide to Democracy in Action. It was published in 2004, but I think it's really important now, as elections are coming up, for us to get through this. It's The Daily Show with Jon Stewart presents. So, Jon Stewart has been really, really vocal, and I wanted to go back to this book and talk about it, and read it, really. And so, good for you, we're already in chapter 1, and you missed most of my crazy antics, okay? So, thanks for being here. So, imagine a system in which anyone could wind up serving on the Supreme Court. Anyone. Think about your own family. Friends, the guys you knew in college who would eat dog feces for $10. See figure 1.4. The guys you knew in college who would eat dog feces for $10. Oh, okay. I see them. Okay. I see them. I will get them to a counselor. Now picture, or get them some food from the food bank, because obviously they needed $10 and they needed food, and that seemed like a viable option to them. So now picture one of them as your randomly chosen Chief Justice, and you'll appreciate just how fucked up this system was. Well, like, honestly, I'm pretty sure just because, well, imagine people getting the popular vote. Trump lost the popular vote, but, you know. Like, I just imagine the most powerful people only electing their best friends who are, like, terrible people. You know what I mean? That would suck. Compared with American democracy, the Athenian version seems simplistic, naive, and gay? Like, happy? Or homosexual? And, like, why would they write that in there? What year are we in? For fuck's sake? Come on, Jonstewart, you know better than that. Transcripts of early Athenian policy debates reveal a populace moved more by eloquence and rationality than demagogues and fear-mongering. Thankfully, this type of humane governance wasn't allowed to take root. Athens' great experiment ended after less than 2 centuries, when in 338 BC, Philip of Macedon's forces invaded the city, inflicting on its inhabitants the eternal fates of the noble and enlightened, to be brutally crushed by the armed and dumb. So, were you aware? The first known public opinion poll was conducted in Sumeria in approximately 2600 BC. First known public opinion poll, Sumeria, 2600 BC. Translation: Are you better off now than you were under Sharshush, the third destroyer of men? Click A, B, or C. Yes, no, or no opinion. The margin of error of this poll is plus or minus 1 wedge. This book is cute. I like how they add in, like, silly shit just to make it funny and break up, like, the history. Rome. The first republicans. The fall of Athens was followed by the emergence, overnight, of Rome. At first glance, its people, free adult males with property, basically, appear to have enjoyed a system of representative government similar to ours. True, behind its facade of allegedly representative officials lurked a de facto oligarchy ruled by entrenched plutocrats. But the similarities don't end there. In fact, the Founding Fathers borrowed many of their ideas from the Roman model, including its bicameral legislature, its emphasis on republicanism and civic virtue, and its Freudian fascinations with big white columns. Nice. So there is a timeline of the democracy. Prehistory, hunter-gatherers from 2-party systems across the globe. 3100 BC, work begins on Stonehenge, first known use of unionized labor force, construction time 1500 years. 1775 BC, Code of Hammurabi radically redefines social contract from I will kill you to I will kill you if you do one of the following 282 things. 1352 BC, Egyptian pharaoh Akhenaten conceives principle of one man, one vote. However, both one man and one vote refer only to him. 1300 BC, God gives the 10 Commandments to Israelites, making them his chosen people and granting them eternal protection under divine law. Nothing bad ever happens to the Jews ever again. 776 BC, Greek city-states hold first Olympic Games to show individual achievement can transcend petty nationalism. 772 BC, Second Olympic Games, Corinth boycotts to piss off Sparta. 431 BC, after heated debate, Athenian assembly passes Pythagorean theorem act, requiring all right triangles conform to the a squared plus b squared equals c squared standard, obviously. May 3rd, 325 BC, very specific date, Rome built, and we have a picture of the Colosseum there. 215 BC, taxpayer revolt halts constitution on Great Square of China, only 25% complete. 27 BC through 476 AD, Pax Romana, period of comparative tranquility in Western world engineered by global superpower, like the 1950s, but way more fucking, just like a lot more sex. 30 AD, death penalty debate heats up after controversial execution of alleged Son of God. The Son of God. And you can keep his name out your goddamn fucking mouth. Whoops. I blasphemed. 284 to 305. Emperor Diocletian orders feeding of Christians to lions, violating principle of separation of heads and bodies. Great. Cool. There we are. Thank you for always killing us. At 440, in milestone for orderly secession of power, Attila names brother Bleda Weishun. 613, Muhammad begins publicly preaching Islam. Can democracy be far behind? 748, first printed newspaper appears in China. Contains only obituaries. Funky Winker Bean. The 8th and 9th century. Chinese developed gunpowder, banking, newspapers, advanced medicine, paper money. Not Western. That doesn't count. So basically, the Chinese gave us everything that we've ever needed and wanted. Like, they're amazing. So 1000 AD, Athling, world's first parliament, formed in Iceland, mainly for warmth. And gave us Bjork. 1066 AD, the British invasion, Norman mania takes England by storm, thousands killed. Magna Carta was made in 1215 AD. Gutenberg Bible, first book printed with movable type. Oh, damn. Begins world trend toward dumbing down literacy. That was in 1455. Oh, sorry. In 1347, my bad, a pretty big one. Black Death kills 1 in 3 Europeans. Leech lobby touts 67% success rate. In 1480s, the Spanish Inquisition pioneers used the target demographics as focus groups. In 1492, America discovers white people. Sorry, America. And then in 1620, Pilgrims land at Plymouth Rock. And in 1621, Rock gets too crowded. Pilgrims leave. 1687, using calculus, Newton estimates that one man equals 1.00423 votes. History proves him startlingly accurate. And in 1732, George Washington fathered in his country. That one was written oddly. So, a lot of that was written just in a funny way, right? But you get the gist. So, however, there was very little real democracy in Rome. While the Senate theoretically represented the people, in reality its wealthy members covertly pursued pro-business legislation on behalf of such military industrial giants as Javelin Corps, Unified Crucifix, and a cartel of resource-exploiting companies known as the Big Aqueduct. They even monopolized the most notorious aspect of Roman life, instituting an orgy policy that can literally be described as trickle-down. Vomitoriums aside, Rome's biggest contribution to American government was probably its legal system, which codified key concepts like equal protection, innocent until proven guilty, and the right to confront one's accusers. These very same issues would later form the basis of both the Bill of Rights and a mind-numbing quantity of law and order scripts. But by the time of Rome's huge millennium celebration marking the beginning of 0 AD, the faint light of Roman democracy was all but extinguished. The Republic had given way to empire. The only voting to speak of took place in the Colosseum and was generally limited to a handful of disembowelment-related issues. In time, the empire itself fell. As history teaches us all, empires inevitably must. Its most enduring legacy, a numerical system that allowed future generations to more easily keep track of Super Bowls. So, Rome's most enduring legacy is innocent to proven guilty. That's pretty cool. The philosophical roots of American democracy. So Plato, then John Locke, then Niccolo Machiavelli, and then Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. So political philosophy in the Republic, which I actually have, and maybe I should have just read that one before this. Plato said that a government fulfilling the highest ideals of human society can be achieved, but only if the right people are put in charge. Plato generally made this point while clearing his throat and yelling, "Hello, author of the Republic here!" Notable quote: "The perfect society will occur only when kings become philosophers, or philosophers are made kings." Less notable quote: "You want it when?" Fun fact: in spite of his reputation as a thinker for the ages, during his lifetime, Plato's only bestseller was a mass-market scroll entitled "Reason Yourself Then." Political philosophy of John Locke, from 1632 to 1704. In his second treatise on government, Locke argued government is a voluntary creation by people who give up complete freedom in order to better safeguard their inalienable rights to life, liberty, and property. Locke conceded, however, that the right to party was alienable and had to be fought for. Because you gotta fight for your right to party. I always miss the beat. I hope I did that correctly. You gotta fight for your right to party. I don't know. Did I do it right? And then next was Niccolo Machiavelli, from 1469 to 1527 AD. He was Italian, if you can't tell. And Machiavelli's best-known political doctrines were: 1, it is better for leaders to appear virtuous than to actually be virtuous. And 2, for a politician, the ends justify the means. So, impact on American democracy, it says none, but sounds like maybe it had a lot more than they're giving him credit for. And political philosophy, Jesus Christ, 0 to 33a himself. In the New Testament, Jesus says, "Render therefore unto Caesar the things which are Caesar's, and unto God the things that are God's." An early call for the separation of church and state. Jesus goes on to say, "But when it cometh to the things neither Caesar's nor God's, feeleth free to write them off, for they be deductible." Again, they made a funny. So there's a lot of charts here. It's a lot of charts. It's kind of hard to show you all, but I'm going to try and show you, right? So what type of government best suits you? We'll go through it. So, in the democracy, your typical day is counting your money and deciding which fast food to eat. Your favorite kind of war for democracy, we'll just go through all of them. A glorious battle for liberty, preferably fought by a proxy army. Your standard breakfast, Crispix. No idea what that is. How are you most likely to die? Skidoo accident. I hope you skidon't. Sorry. Why are you being jailed? Possession of marijuana with intent to sell. Fucking bitches. Your pet peeves. Voting. Democracy. Voting. Your pet peeves. What's your favorite take on genital mutilation? Foreskin is gross / hilarious. Off with it. You hate America because sales tax. Favorite punk rock band? Circle Jerks. I've seen them. I've seen them live. Anyways, totalitarian regime. So we'll go through all of them for a totalitarian regime. Your typical day. Marching. More marching. Your favorite kind of war. Seizing territory necessary for new and bigger monuments to the beloved despot. Your standard breakfast. Tree bark frittata. How are you most likely to die? Pick one. Killed by enemy soldiers. Killed by your own soldiers. Why are you being jailed? Poor dancing at dear leader's birthday extravaganza. Your pet peeves. Figuring out what to do with your life. What's your take on genital mutilation? Only for the Olympic athletes. You hate America because propaganda doesn't lie. Favorite punk rock band? The Dead Kennedys. Theocracy. Okay, so theocracy. Your typical day looks like avoiding the opposite sex while waiting quietly for death at the hands of American soldiers. Your favorite kind of war. One loosely resembling prophecy in religious texts. Your standard breakfast. Blood of the firstborn son. How are you most likely to die? Bunker buster. Oh my god. Why are you being jailed? Apostasy. Your pet peeves? Having to leave the courthouse to talk to a priest. What's your take on genital mutilation? Why stop at genitals? You hate America because the great Satan exports misery and irresistible dance music. Favorite punk rock band? Early Black Flag. Oh, with Keith Morrison. Yeah, that's right, bitches. Okay. Socialist state. Standing in line. Socialist state. Your typical day. Standing in line for tickets to the toilet paper line. Your favorite kind of war. Let's check in with local revolutionary council. Your standard breakfast. Vodka. How are you most likely to die? Combination boredom. Combination industrial mishap. Why is it called mishap and not misshap? You know what I mean? Like, because it's spelled with this SH. Like, why does nobody call it misshap? Like, oh, I had a mishap at work today. Yeah. Hello. Hello. I'm almost done with chapter 1, so you missed it. But this is America. Don't catch me slipping. No. This is from the. It's really old. It's from 2004, so a decade ago. The Daily Show with Jon Stewart presents America, the book, not the country. We're almost done. We just have I think 3 more pages or something. And so this is what type of government best suits you. So you get to decide which one you like the best. Right now we're just finishing the socialist states. Your standard breakfast would be vodka. And how are you most likely to die? A combination of boredom or industrial mishap. Why are you being jailed? It'd be a first-degree yard sale, obviously. Your pet peeves, money. Socialist state, hate money. What's your take on genital mutilation? I support mutilating people's genitals if it helps the people. For a socialist state. You hate America because they're capitalist pigs and they won't trade with us. Favorite punk rock band? Crying in Your Beer, the Ramones. So the next one is the Third World Resort Island. Okay, we'll just skip through that one. Post-communist kleptocracy. Your typical day. Managing Ukraine prostitutes by day, planning your coup by night. Your favorite kind of war. Civil war between the power company and the phone company, obviously. Your standard breakfast. Oh, democracy, look at that. It's also Crispix. How are you most likely to die? Stabbed in your own basement casino. Why are you being jailed? You were late mailing your bribe, obviously. Your pet peeves, having to leave the courthouse to buy heroin. What's your take on genital mutilation? Is there money in it? Obviously, first of all. And then you hate America because anti-piracy DVD technology. And then favorite punk rock band, The Clash. So, military junta is your typical day, polishing the colonel's boots. Your favorite kind of war. Favorite kind? Your standard breakfast, chilaquiles, obviously. How are you most likely to die? Jungle rot. Aw. Why are you being jailed? Your grandmother's brother backed the wrong side. It's a family thing. It's a family affair. Pet peeves. Where's the checkpoint when you need one? And then what's your take on genital mutilation? Sounds more fun than it really is. You hate America because they only sent you 50 fighter planes this year. And favorite punk rock band, does Pavement count? I'm not going to read the others. I'm just going to read Occupied Territory. Your typical day, so many rocks, so little time. Your favorite kind of war, anything in front of cameras, really. How are you most likely to die? Gravel sausage. Why are you being jailed? Oh, I'm sorry. Standard breakfast, gravel sausage. Aw. Why are you being jailed? Sneezing at a checkpoint. Your pet peeves. Rock you through, actually hit a soldier. Who knew? What's your favorite take on genital mutilation? As long as it doesn't hinder my rock throwing. You hate America because shrapnel in your bedroom reads Lockheed Martin. Jesus. Favorite punk rock band, Social Distortion. That's right. So that one actually hit home for me. Sorry, that's really sad. So these are the last 2 pages. Because this other one's just, the last one's just kind of like discussion questions and they're silly. So those are the last 2 pages. I guess 4 pages, but we'll go through them quick. It's really big text. So Magna Carta, power to the extremely wealthy people. And then, darkness. For more than 1,000 years, democracy disappeared from the European scene. The period instead saw the blossoming of an exciting array of alternate forms of government, such as monarchy, absolute monarchy, kingship, queenhood, and 3 different types of oppression: religious, ethnic, for shits and giggles. As for individual liberty, innocent until proven guilty was rapidly supplanted by a more aggressive law and order approach, better characterized as guilty until proven flammable. So the reason they say that is because they were talking about how in Athens, Greece, with Plato and his book, The Republic, they were more, they were the inventors of innocent until proven guilty, and that was done away with, I guess, as time went on, and they went through the medieval times and such, and so now they have the Magna Carta, and it's more just like they're burning everybody. You gotta watch your husband, watch your kids, watch your grandma, because they're burning everybody around here. Democracy had disappeared. The people needed a champion, and as is usually the case, the obscenely rich rode to the rescue. In 1215, England's wealthy barons refused to give King John the money he needed to wage war unless he signed the Magna Carta. The document codified that no man was above the law. Unfortunately for the peasant class, it did very little to address how many were below it. Startlingly ahead of its time, this extraordinary document had a profound effect on people, and by people, we're talking about free adult males with property who signed the Magna Carta. So only them. And it continues to shape the 21st century views on topics as diverse as, gosh, I will literally be completely honest. It's a barrage of words that I'm not going to say. But even more importantly, the Magna Carta set a powerful precedent for our own founding fathers. There was no more powerful means of safeguarding individual liberty than a vaguely worded manifesto inked in an inscrutable cursive on dilapidated parchment, obviously. The Magna Carta served as a wake-up call that Europe would be forced to answer in about 500 years. For Lady Democracy, having lain dormant for more than a millennium, hello, rise up, had risen from its slumber only to stretch its arms, reach for the clock, groggily set the snooze bar, and for the Enlightenment. Period. So, next subchapter. The 17th and 18th centuries enlightening strikes. Enlightening strikes, that's funny. Are you really paying attention to me? Should I make funny faces until you do? And then scare you off? Better than... Never mind. Through a promising development for democracy, the Magna Carta was mostly ignored as the world plunged into what would be known as the Dark Ages. It was an apt title for an era when amoebic dysentery was considered the good kind of dysentery. Oppression and high morality rates seemed ready to swallow what remained of mankind, when through the darkness emerged the light that would be its salvation. You guessed it. Reason. Reason. It began slowly. Hey, what if we stop storing the corpses in the drinking water and we see if it makes any difference to our health? From there, it gathered momentum. I don't know why I said it that way. It gathered momentum. Soon all conventional wisdom, from the shape of the earth to whether the ruling class could have your hut, your home, burned and your organs removed because they thought you caused an eclipse, was up for grabs. This last question proved especially pertinent for the future of democracy and ushered in an era known as the Enlightenment. The Enlightenment, with its emphasis on reason, would finally provide democracy with its philosophical underpinnings. The 17th and 18th centuries produced a wave of prominent thinkers espousing political systems based on what they called the social contract. Government, they theorized, was a sort of legal agreement between the rulers and the ruled, the terms of which were binding of both parties. It was a groundbreaking theory. All they needed now was some country dumb enough to try it before the king found out, and had them all drawn and quartered. Democracy needed a fresh start. Hardy and idealistic champions who would strike out for the new world, willing to risk everything for the principles of equality, liberty, justice, and slaves. We'd need some slaves and guns. We're getting ahead of ourselves. A new world awaited. And there's some funny pictures here. It says the Enlightenment's focus on reason raised up the profile of the brain, which became the organ considered most important to human character, overtaking the spleen. I mean, it is, but also the spleen's really important, okay? The humors and whatnot. So, lay down your arms. Sorry, can't, dude. Robert Plant. I just, yeah. And then, did you know Philcollins was on the album? Philcollins is on the album. Philcollins. Sorry, I love Philcollins. Everybody loves, a lot of people love Philcollins. So, the Ages of Democracy Guide. 1. Infancy. Oh, like Snowflakes or Sting albums, no two democracies are exactly alike, but they all tend to follow the same basic pattern. This guide will help steer you through the turning points of your democracy's life. Infancy is the first stage. Congratulations, you've ended your religious, economic, ethnic repression and thrown off the yoke of your despot king Ayatollah through a bloody, bloodless war coup, a voluntary exile. Now, it's time to choose your first leader. He or she, may have commanded your war effort, but could also be a prominent exile returning from his via on the Côte d'Azur. First step, draft a new constitution. Use pencil, obviously. Next, hold your first election. Is it fraudulent? Don't worry, everybody's proud of you just for trying. Tip, naming a new national capital. Why not call it your country city? 2. Childhood. Your democracy is up and running. You're ready to organize political parties. 1, ideally, 2 if necessary. During these formative years, they'll prove invaluable in furnishing your citizens with opinions. Plenty of exciting discoveries await. But remember, youthful exuberance can sometimes lead to violent acting out. Control yourself. Hire a police force. Preferably lead some of the people you overthrew. Led by some of the people you overthrew. Other milestones to look for. First war. Writing national anthem about the war. And collecting taxes all by yourself. Like a big country. This is a good time to free any Nobel Peace Prize winners you may have had incarcerated. Also, side note for your number 2. Childhood democracies should not be allowed to play with these. Rockets. Yeah. Weapons of mass destruction. 3. Adolescence. A democracy's most turbulent time. It usually starts with an assassination waves of revenge killings, les miserables, that ends with a civil war, population adjustment. In between, you'll undergo a rapid growth spurt, possibly involving the annexation of Texas. Your relationship with your founders will change. You'll find yourself questioning whether they had it all wrong when it came to, for instance, slavery. Physically, your private sector will mature, your mineral deposits will start surfacing, and you will experience the first stirrings of interest in women, specifically in letting them vote. Suffrage. You may also notice dissidents where you formerly had none. Don't worry, this is normal. They can always be arrested. Number 4. Adulthood, the prime of your life. By now you know who you are and which UN committee you chair. Your natural resources are at the peak of their exportability. It's time to think about building a future, settling down with the right alliances, maybe even raising little colonies of your own. But with success comes new responsibility. Other nations are now counting on you for aid and peacekeeping. And peacekeeping troops. You may find yourself compromising your youthful ideals, supporting regimes you know are violating human rights. But don't beat yourself up about it. You have to trade with someone. Tip. With a free press firmly in place, you may see the first appearance of political satire. Ignore it. It can do no harm. 5. Middle age. One day your democracy will look in the mirror and behold a scary sight. Voter turnout is thinning. Your welfare system is bloated. You're completely dominated by corporate interests, and you haven't had a proper election in years. When this happens, a nation may go through a midlife crisis, seeking solace in superficial toys like satellite-based lasers to shoot down missiles or action stars turned politicians. Don't be surprised if old allies decide to leave you and start referring to you as a once great nation. Ultimately, you will have to decide whether to quietly make peace with your declining power or to go out in a blaze of glory, taking Mideast peace, world fish stocks, the ozone layer with you. Basically everything. Tip. Many middle-aged democracies find themselves turning to religion for strength, so don't be too embarrassed to erode church-state separation provisos. Section 6. Old age. Your legislative sessions now deal almost exclusively with healthcare and social security. The dependent nations you've created no longer want anything to do with you. But worst of all, your mind is going. The best and brightest of your nation shun public service, and the resulting brain drain racks your bureaucracies, rendering you unable to perform even the most basic tasks, like balancing a budget or conducting a legitimate election. Your body politic is clogged with incumbents, and worst of all, your vice presidents once played someone named the Geech on a UPN sitcom. By the end, you can't even recognize your own ideals. Your few remaining friends may be tempted to end your misery and bomb you out of love. But at least they can take some small comfort in saying, old democracies never die, they just get overthrown by military juntas, peasant insurrections, and rural militias. So yeah, thank you so much for joining. This is the last part. Discussion questions. I'll leave you with discussion questions. 1. If you lived in a monarchy, would you rather be a king or a slave? Why or why not? 2. What is the central ideological difference between democracy and cannibalism? 3. You're a 5th century Greek city-state growing increasingly concerned over the repeated Persian incursions into this, into the central Peloponnesian peninsula. How many hoplites can you dispatch to Thermopylae without jeopardizing the triremes commanded by Themistocles for the naval engagement of Artemisium? Show your work. 4. Does the expression, when in Rome, do as the Romans do, apply to all cities or just Rome? 5. The notion of each individual has worth in society found political expression in the invention of democracy. What's this bullshit about? 6. Is the direct democracy practical today? In a nation as big as ours, is it really possible to simultaneously gather the opinions of 300 million people? Log on to www.americathebook.com and vote in our poll. Were you aware 1 cup of green tea contains more vitamin C than an orange? I don't know, but that's good to know. Thanks, Bigelow, for your sponsorship. Just kidding. Maybe future sponsorship. And thank you, Yogi T. Remember, your soul is your highest self. So thank you so much. Voltaire was an important Enlightenment thinker from 1694 to 1778. There must be a book about him somewhere. Oh, I think I have my Voltaire book at work. So now we're at chapter 2, but I'm going to wait to read this. I don't want to take all your time. We'll do this in chapters. I may go into it, but yeah. So the next one is the founding of America, and we can see all of the good stuff is to come, they say. You know, that's why you wait. You wait for the good stuff to come. Sorry, there was a picture of all of the Supreme Court justices naked. Like full frontal naked in here. It's a good book. It's a good book. And so I will leave you with some music and with my love and consideration. And remember, altruism wins. And the genocide. And, don't forget to lay down your arms. I guess that's what they were talking about, that it's really hard to get this book to stand up. They're like, it's going to be very hard to get this book to stand up. I did it. Yeah. So this was the album by Robert Plant. Come on, America, you can do better than this. You don't have to sell your body to the night. Thanks everybody that joined me. I appreciate your little comments. Do you like me, or do you just want to see my titties? Okay, because next time I'll wear a low-cut shirt. Just like, I was thinking that the whole time. I was like, did you not stay the whole time because I wasn't wearing a low-cut shirt? Tell me. I'll wear it next time. Thanks for music by Robert Robert Plant. This is the principles of the moment. I want to also thank the police, Sting. Thanks so much. Jonstewart gave you a little shout out, so I thought I would end with your album. So lonely, so lonely. This is The Daily Show with Jon Stewart presents America, the book, A Citizen's Guide to a Democracy in Action. Sans action. So, I mean, it could be worse. We could have a monarchy, right? I guess. So, remember, stop the genocide, man. And go vote. It's an election year. And I know I shouldn't be saying this, but honestly, I'm not like really happy with either candidate that we know. We already know the two candidates they're going to be given to us. Write in Bernie Sanders' name, dude. Write in his name. Write in his name. Or vote for Green Party. Whoever the third party is, the Green Party, vote for Green Party, dude. Don't let these people think that we're just going to sit back and let them tell us the two people that we have to vote for. I know it sounds dumb. I know everybody's probably thinking that is the stupidest thing, but I don't care. We cannot just let them tell us what to do and have these warmongers in our office. Let's try something new. Thanks. Bye. This is a Reading Rage Live. And I'm alive! It's alive! She's alive! I'm alive. And you are too. Don't forget to vote.